Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Sipping with Jeremy, and today we're going to be talking about ready-to-drink cocktails from Wandering Barman. So they're a Brooklyn, New York-based company that was founded by Roxanne, Darren, and Julian, who started it to prove a point that you can put ready-to-drink cocktails in bottle and still be delicious. We have four expressions we'll be trying from Wandering Barman today. We have the Botanical Margarita, the Grapefruit Sling, the Cucumber Old Fashioned, and the Smoky Old Fashioned. Let's go ahead and get started with the Botanical Margarita. So one quick note I will make is that I've had these bottles in my fridge for a couple days to chill out. I would suggest drinking the Wandering Barman stuff over ice. I'm just doing it in this way because this is traditional for the episodes. But yeah, typically you would enjoy these with an ice cube, just a nice like cocktail like you would anything else. The Botanical Margarita, which this is tequila based. Let's go ahead and give it a try. This is just a super well balanced cocktail for sure. You get that tequila up front, so you get a little bit of that white pepper, a little bit of that grassiness. There is a really nice like citrusy note to it, a little bit of like lime zest aspect. You get some softer kind of sweetness on the back end, and there's just softer kind of like floral characteristics. There are some softer kind of herbaceous flavors, kind of like marigold, or there's just that softer kind of dried flower aspects that give it a little bit more of that botanical kind of feel. So this definitely is like a margarita that was just kissed by like a little bit of gin, kind of like if you wash the glass with gin before you put the margarita in. And yeah, so just super easy. It's very distinct kind of flavor profile though. That's not your typical margarita, especially like your RTD margarita. It's not this like that sweet kind of citrusy note. There's definitely some layering here and definitely some flavors that evolve on the palate. So just a really fun experience, a different take on a margarita that's going to stand out for a group for sure. Let's go ahead and now move on to the Grapefruit Sling. The Wandering Barman have recently gone through a label change. So at the store, we have bottles of the Grapefruit Sling that are still labeled the Iron Lady, which was the first name of it. They've changed it to Grapefruit Sling. I imagine it's just a little easier, a little more straightforward, tells people what they're getting in the cocktail. Oh yeah, this is a gin-based cocktail. Let's go ahead and try it. I will admit that this is my favorite one of the Wandering Barman that we carry in store, and it's just super vibrant. It has a lot kind of like drier hoppiness to it too. They do add citra hops to this, so you definitely get that drier kind of herbaceousness from the hops. The gin itself, with its juniper and carrot botanicals, it has some drier kind of floral notes. They also add rose petal to this, so it's a really like floral forward cocktail, which typically isn't my thing. But the grapefruit in this, the more citrusy back end to this, super balances it out really nicely, and it just makes it like this easy drinking cocktail. Which again, like for me, a little bit more floral than I typically expect me to like for a drink. But this one is just super well balanced and really well done. Now let's go ahead and move on to the Cucumber Old Fashioned. The Cucumber Old Fashioned is the second of the Wandering Barman that you'll see the older labels at the store for now until we get a new batch. But it used to be called the Socialite. But it's basically, an old fashioned gin-based cocktail. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Again, this is just super well balanced. You get some really fresh cucumber flavor up front. There's a little bit of sweetness. The gin and elderflower kind of dry up the back end to give you some balance to those richer kind of flavors up front. You don't really expect cucumber to be a rich note, but if you're adding sugarcane to it, it kind of pulls out a little bit more sweetness than you would expect. But there's still like a refreshing aspect of the cucumber. And then the elderflower is kind of more dry, not as sweet as you'd expect it to be. And then same idea with the botanicals from the gin, kind of dries up that back end. So you just get this really well balanced, like a little bit of sweetness up front, drier finish, but cucumber throughout. I understand why they changed the name to Cucumber Old Fashioned because that is, the predominant flavor in this, and it lingers on your palate for sure. All right, time to move on to the Smoky Old Fashioned. So I would say this is definitely the most traditional cocktail that Wandering Barman makes. The Smoky Old Fashioned is bourbon based. Let's go ahead and give it a try. I would say the only thing missing from this Smoky Old Fashioned that you would get like at a bar or something is the aspect of actual smoke, the dramatic thing where they put the smoke, they'll cover the thing in smoke and pull it off and ooh, so cool. But that's saving me like 10 to 15 bucks a glass by doing this instead, and I thank you for that, Wandering Barman. But no, this is a very classic old-fashioned profile to it. You get that richness of the bourbon, you get some nice kind of orange bitter zest out of it too, and then there's this really nice like hickory smoke note that just brings this like big smokiness that lingers on the palate, that stays there, and gives you that smoke characteristic. So it's very much straightforward, as it says on the bottle. There's nothing hiding behind it. It's a smoked old-fashioned that's just super well balanced. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap up this episode of Sipping with Jeremy. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it. Below, you'll find links to our website where you can purchase these ready-to-drink cocktails. And yeah, just as a note, Wandering Barman, I think they're doing some really cool stuff. A lot of these cocktails are very distinct in their profiles, and they are really well balanced. This is the thing that they were trying to prove, that you can do an RTD in a bottle and it still tastes delicious. We've done a couple different episodes with RTDs that I find to be dang tasty, but none of them have these profiles to them. I've never had a botanical margarita before, or a cucumber old fashioned before. So, but Wandering Barman is definitely distinct with the cocktails that they're putting in glass. Again, the most traditional one is a smoky old fashioned, and I say that traditional, like people have only been doing smoky old fashions as a big popular thing in the last 5 years or so, 5 to 8 years. So it's definitely still something that they're a little bit ahead of the curve of your typical RTD brands. But thanks for joining us, all. Have a great day. Enjoy yourself, and don't forget to drink well.